Welcome back to another Chelsea transfer news video for you to watch right here, right now. Enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on daily transfer news videos on the mighty Chelsea FC. Right, first up, Kai Havertz has officially left the German international camp so that he can fly to London and sign a contract with the Blues. Well, we don't know why he's flying to London, but I'm guessing, I don't know why else he would be flying to London if he wasn't going to sign a contract with Chelsea. Germany did play Spain last night in the Nations League and Kai was chosen for the squad, but he was a sub the whole game. Timo Werner did score a lovely goal where he took it past one defender, another defender and tucked it nicely into the bottom left corner past David De Gea. But Kai was on the bench the whole time. He has officially now left the camp where they're all training and getting ready for the next games, so that he can fly to London, and he has flown to London, and now he is probably in London as I'm speaking so that he can sign the contract. He might have already signed by the time this video goes out, which would be a shame, but make sure you subscribe so you know when Kai has officially joined, as I will be making a video as soon as possible. It's been quite obvious that, well, ever since the fee was agreed by Leverkusen from Chelsea, that Kai is going to be a Chelsea player, as he had already agreed personal terms and it doesn't look like he was going to be staying, and he had already been persuaded by Frank to join the Chelsea FC revolution. Next up is something that could have been. Miralem Pjanic has joined Barcelona in a very complicated deal with Arthur, the Brazilian 24-year-old midfielder, who looks like he has a big future ahead of him. He's 24, so he's getting a little bit older, but especially under the right coaches, he could be a very good player. And yeah, he's obviously going to Juventus in a £72 million deal, but Pjanic is going to Barcelona in a £60 million deal. So technically it's just a swap deal, but Juventus are paying £12 million more. It doesn't really make sense. I'd be a bit annoyed if I was Barcelona. I don't know why they wanted to do this deal, because they're similar players. They're both midfielder, playmakers sort of players, and Arthur's 6 years younger. Pjanic is 30 and Arthur is 24. However, it has been released that Juventus did offer a swap deal for Chelsea with Jorginho and Pjanic, which is quite interesting. But Chelsea did reject it. This was before any of the Barcelona saga went through with Pjanic and Arthur. And it looks like Juventus are just trying to get rid of Pjanic, which is kind of weird because he's a very respected player, he's very good. Maybe they just wanted to finally get rid of him, as they did have a very disappointing season. They only just managed to clinch the title in front of Inter Milan by 1 point, which is quite embarrassing for the old lady. But Pjanic is a bit older than Jorginho, and they're similar players, but not exactly the same. They're both midfielders, obviously, but Jorginho is a lot slower. He's probably better at passing, but Pjanic is quite good at dribbling. Maybe Frank just decided that Pjanic is just too similar to Mateo Kovacic, who's a midfielder that does work very well alongside Jorginho, as they can both lie deep, Jorginho looking for the passes forwards and Kovacic carrying the ball forwards to lay it off to a striker or a winger, who knows. But yeah, Frank obviously rejected this deal, which is, I think he did make the right choice. Chelsea aren't really looking for a midfielder like Pjanic. Obviously Havertz is almost joined, he's more of an attacking midfielder and he's got a big future ahead of him as he's only 21, and obviously they are trying to build a young squad, a young and hungry squad, which wouldn't kind of all be cancelled out with a 30-year-old midfielder in the squad. Although he would bring experience, and Thiago Silva is that man bringing experience at the moment. Jamie Redknapp did say, he's interestingly Frank Lampard's cousin, Jamie Redknapp did say that Thiago Silva could potentially be the signing of the summer for Chelsea, despite all the players they brought in. Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Thiago Silva, obviously Ben Chilwell. But yeah, Jamie Redknapp said Thiago Silva could be the signing of the summer, which is quite interesting. Thirdly, Bakayoko joined Chelsea in 2017 for Antonio Conte for a whopping £40 million. Now that doesn't really sound like much, and it didn't at the time, as he was performing brilliantly for Monaco. And I remember in the Champions League, he scored a goal which knocked Manchester City out of the tournament and progressed Monaco further. But then after the season, where a wonderful season for Monaco, they just got picked apart. Bakayoko signed for Chelsea for £40 million. Bernardo Silva signed for Man City. Can't quite remember how much that cost. Kylian Mbappe obviously left Monaco, joined PSG. I think it was £170 million in the end. 170 million euros. They all got picked apart, and now Monaco are kind of struggling. They struggled a couple of seasons ago. They brought in a new coach and brought in Wissam Ben Yedder, who's a FIFA favourite, if you know what I'm talking about. And he's done very well for Monaco last season. And Bakayoko did go on loan to Monaco a couple of seasons ago. He went on loan to AC Milan last year, and Milan do look like they're trying to sign him permanently, or on another loan with an option to buy at the end. Chelsea want €30 million, which is £27 million, but Milan only want to pay €20 million, which is 17 or 18 million pounds. I'm not 100% sure. I think Chelsea obviously accepted they're going to lose on the Frenchman, but they want to lose as little as possible. They want to make some of the money back. They want to make at least 3/4 of it, or just under that. I'm not really sure. And I like Bakayoko. He's a French solid defensive midfielder, and I just wish he was a bit better for Chelsea. I would just wish he performed better for Chelsea than he has in recent years. Lastly, Sergio Romero is the Manchester United second choice goalkeeper, and after Manchester United persuaded Dean Henderson to pin a new contract with him, he's now going to be battling it out with David De Gea for the first team spot. This means that Sergio Romero, who was the original second choice keeper, will become the third choice keeper. So he's not going to be getting much game time at all. And Aston Villa are thought to be interested, and so are Chelsea. Maybe Romero could be a good option to try and compete with Kepa, as Romero is from Argentina, so speaks Spanish, and maybe they could both be good competitors for each other to try and push each other as hard as possible so that they can be in the top of their game as possible. Kepa cost Chelsea £71 million a couple of years back, just when Sarri joined, or can't quite remember. He was a replacement for Thibaut Courtois, who left for Real Madrid. And he's not really lived up to that £71 million at all. It was a kind of a shame that Liverpool managed to sneak in Alisson before Chelsea, as it did look like Chelsea were going to sign Alisson, but Liverpool managed to sneak him from Chelsea, and then Chelsea had to settle with Kepa, the rest is obvious. He's not performed at all. He had an awful season last season. He had an okay first season to his Premier League debut season, but last season was terrible for Kepa. Chelsea just really struggled defensively, and Kepa's performances did not help at all. Chelsea do have the money to sign a brand new keeper. Jan Oblak is a great option, but Chelsea seem to look like they're trying to sign a different keeper, someone not as good, so that they can maybe compete with Kepa and push him to the best possible as they can, and then Chelsea can try and sell Kepa next season and try and make back as much money as possible, because obviously no club is going to want to buy Kepa Arrizabalaga. First of all, no one's going to want to buy him at the moment. Second of all, no one's going to have the money to buy him for £71 million, which is what Chelsea would want, so they don't lose any money. And third of all, he's nowhere near worth that. He's probably worth about £30 million at the moment at most. So hopefully he can get all his confidence back. The reason why Chelsea don't want to buy someone huge is because they just knocked the remaining tiny little bit of confidence from Kepa, and then he'd just do terribly next season. He won't play, just be a second choice keeper, and he will not be costing much at all for a different club to come and sign him. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and goodbye.